properly, as in not laggy as hell, because that's not what we're aiming for, of course. Let's see if it did. Change a couple settings here so we can hopefully pick right back up from where we left off here with the Ferrari. And yeah, that being said, the the tech devil, so to speak, really has set up base camp apparently at my place. Gonna have to kick them out real soon. Okay, Imola, Ferrari, we settled on, right? So let's do 10-minute qualifying, 15-minute race. No practice. Should be fine, right? So, yeah, that looks, just from the corner of my eye, looking at the the monitor down there, a bit better, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Ferrari, Imola, let's go. I don't know. So we lowered the res a little bit, but the FPS should work then. Let's hope the best, or for the best here. Because obviously this kind of stuff is ultra annoying as well if you're just trying to show off something in a good way here and the tech doesn't play ball for whatever reason. So thanks for sticking around, everyone who's still here. Let's hope that it will pay off here. Will be pretty good, hopefully. Okay, bit of tape should be fine. It's alright, I guess. So Ferrari time. For me, the most or the safest car of the bunch, really. If you want to call it that. It's a race car still, of course. But compared to the Corvette, it's much calmer compared to the McLaren as well. So out of the three mid-engine cars, it's usually the best to drive for stability's sake, if you will. Yeah, that looks a bit better, I think. Nice. Whew, very good. Okay, so let's actually focus on what's at hand here. Namely Imola in a Ferrari. So what else could you ask for? Also pretty good sound from the V8 here. Pretty much glued to the track already. As I say that, I slightly lose the rear. There we go again with the off-track stuff. Into Tosa. Interesting fact, there's to the left there's a huge video screen that you couldn't quite see there. And when I did the article comparing real-life photos of the event to the LMU Imola, there was actually that screen was a few degrees off. It was there, but it was facing slightly in the wrong direction, which was oops. Okay, so much for easier to drive and everything. Still cold, of course. So, you know, not an issue really, because you don't see it, you don't look at it either when driving anyway. And as far as I know, Studio 397 was like, man, we should actually correct this. Because yeah, it's nice to see, I think, this level of love for detail, because it just makes for a nice environment. And like I said, I think one of the biggest strong suits of Le Mans Ultimate are the detailed tracks and the way they are reproduced. I really love that. It's so nice. Now it doesn't look that much better, really, unfortunately. I don't know. Okay. Can break into the corners nice and late with this thing, more or less, to a degree. You can always gotta watch, of course, because if you overdo it, you will lose the rear of the car. And there we go. That was close. So it's okay, brake balance is 50 anyway, so That's quite rearward. Wouldn't be surprised if that played a part in it. Also down at Acqua Minerale a lap before. Fluid like a waterfall, well then, that's good. Hopefully not as loud and deafening, but that's probably a settings thing for everyone individually anyway. I think Acqua Minerale is just tricky like that. It is in a hypercar, because you're always dancing on the limit of grip, of course. Can actually take a bit of curb with this, which is a surprise. Usually the mid-engine cars aren't that fond of having them hammered over curbs, but this, so far it's been alright. Yep, that should have been a later braking point. Lap won't count anyway, so let's actually make this one count then. We're aiming for a 47.8. No idea if that's realistic at all or not, but let's see. Take a good amount of curbs. Off curb here. That's always been a thing ever since they implemented these chicanes here at Imola. Ah, that might have been a cut. No, it wasn't. Alright, nice. Because I remember these super slow-mos from F1 from my childhood when they were here, and just throwing the cars over the curbs big time. Okay, so that was better. Whoops. So yeah, quite engaging actually. Like I said at the start of this, not the biggest fan of GT3s in sim racing, as it is, but... Oh, that's an off-track, come on. It is evident by the sausage curb that everyone runs over that, but I'm not supposed to apparently. Okay. Still have just under 4 minutes to go in this session though, so I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually. 47.3 now the pole time. And I think that would have been like 47.6 if I saw that correctly. Okay, some GT3s, this is third gear territory, and this one it isn't apparently. Make the most of the curbs without actually getting a track limits warning. Or your lap invalidated, there we go. Alright, that's encouraging. Purple first sector. I think we had a purple second sector on the lap before this one, so maybe this will actually work as well. Again, that would be nice. Whoops. Again, that curb is technically pretty useful, but or helpful rather, but not easy. Yep, purple second sector as well. Let's not get a track limits warning this time. We don't. Nice. That leaves the two Rivazza corners to end the lap. Go. Oh, come on. Are you joking? What's that curb there for then? Not the best line out of here. Gotta get a lap time in now. It's this or next lap, then the session's over. So we're really gonna make it happen now. Alright, now let's see. What's the first sector timing say? Probably nothing, because the next lap won't count either after my supposed extent there. Track limits. I think that's one of the worst things in modern racing, really. These perpetual track limit discussions. It shouldn't be the the internet connection technically either. Only thing that I could think of would be CPU, which I think is more resource heavy for YouTube streaming, or YouTube streaming is more resource heavy or heavier on CPUs. But even that isn't, you know, it's not really outdated. It's a year old and was one of the better models, I guess. Ooh, can we actually get another lap in? Probably not. Time just ran out. Or did we cross the line just in time? Keep forgetting where the actual timing line is at Imola, because that used to change quite frequently, if I remember correctly. Now, game's running fine too. I'm close to 200 FPS right now, so it really can't be that. So, it's a mystery, really. Yo. Score some drift points along the way. Probably not the greatest for, nope. Second sector split wasn't the best because of that, I suppose. Let's see where we end up. Whoops. That's not a track extend, so let's go. And it's a 46.6? Okay. How? That's like, isn't that like 10, okay, no. That worked actually pretty well. Interestingly, my sim hub just told me I would be like 30th, so huh? I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it either, Option 1 marketing. PC is actually, that was the idea of this PC. Basically just, you know, chuck in whatever whatever's there. I just don't want to mess with any in-game settings anymore. Apparently that's a different story for streaming, of course, so yeah. Hooray. Might be OBS related. I guess, I don't know. And internet shouldn't be an issue either. Tested the upload earlier on and that was fine, so yeah. We'll get to the bottom of this, I suppose. Eventually. Right, so 12 laps. Let's just to be sure go for 14 once again. Hope we don't get killed immediately on the shade. GT3's looking nice in LMU though. They do. They are, well, one, looks are good, and more importantly, they drive pretty well. They're really fun, I gotta say. And yeah, like I mentioned, I'm not a huge GT3 fan, so bro, why? Catch up. Thank you. So I think, yeah, that goes to show, or that is, you know, showing where credit is due for Studio 397 in this case. They have created some really engaging cars here, and I enjoy them a lot. So it's probably not going to be the final time to drive, or for me driving them, I guess. Even though I'll always love the hypercars, but you know, give them a look sometime. Why not? Also, really good fun is VR. Now, it's still not a fully fledged feature in LMU right now, but they've done a couple things to make life for VR users easier in LMU. So the HUD has been reworked slightly, which is nice. There are a few keybinds that you can now set to... oh, okay. Big boy BMW and a McLaren down the inside. Oh. That you can now use to make your VR life a little bit easier, which is nice. What I was actually the most surprised of, or by rather, was the performance, because once I got OpenXR Toolkit up and running, which was super easy, unlike other sims, sometimes it just doesn't pick up or whatever, I sort of forgot really to change in-game graphics options. Just decided to run it, and even at Le Mans, in a night session with a full AI grid, so of this size, so 2024 AI grid, and I forgot, I think, the LMP2s, but still 30-ish cars. The only place where I went below 90 FPS, the target I usually go for, was start-finish straight, and that was somewhere between 70 and 80, so still okay. You notice that it slowed down a little bit, but that was pretty good, and it looked really clean. So I think we've got big things in mind for VR. Paraphrasing here, but that was kind of what they said in the preview video. Could mean some really cool things here. And it was really cool to fly down the straight in Le Mans at night in the Peugeot, because you gotta love the Peugeot. At least I do. So that was a really cool experience, and I really hope that VR is gonna do some great things once it's in here. Officially, that is. As of the update, you should be able to start that via Steam directly. So if you click launch, you should be given the option to launch LMU in VR. Thus far, you always had to add the +VR launch command. So that essentially takes care of that, which is nice. So we're moving in the right direction. And it would be super nice if for the 2024 season start we'll get the 4th update with the rest of the GT3s, of course, and some more features. Who knows? I don't know about the timing. It just says Q1 2025, so we'll have to wait and see. But Q1 2025 also implies January, February, March. I think it's pretty safe to say that it won't be January, but you know, these guys are pretty passionate about what they're doing, so let's hope for the best. This update, yeah, that drops tomorrow. So we are a day early here, preview version still, which is also the reason why I can't show you any online stuff, because that's not quite up yet, of course, as it's not publicly released. What I can say though, and that's a bit of a misconception it seems, it's not like the incoming online subscriptions are going to be for all of online, because that's sort of what it feels like, what some people think. That's not the case. It'll be optional, and you will be able to run online championships essentially with that. It's a 2-tiered thing, so it's running via the race control system, for which you can get a free account as well. Oops. So that's all fine and dandy. I think if you are running LMU already, you have one already, I'm pretty sure. And the Pro tier then adds that access to the online championships, for instance, and those should be used for virtual Le Mans qualifying, for instance, which will be a lot more open than it used to be. And the Plus tier basically gets you to the same, but with the nice added benefit that for the duration of your subscription, you will have access to all Studio 397 content across LMU and R-Factor 2, which is nice. But like I said, you don't have to get one of these. You can just run the online stuff that's there without getting anything in addition. For hosted sessions, someone needs to pay for the server, of course. Servers start at, I think, 38 cents it was per hour, depending on server size and, you know, duration. That price will go up, of course, a little bit, but it's not too far removed from what iRacing is doing, if you're familiar with that model. And if you're intending to run a league, for instance, have like 15 drivers, it's basically nothing for any of the drivers, pretty much. I get why it's unpopular as well with some sim racers, because sim racers aren't exactly fond of subscriptions. But yeah, the hosted servers don't fall under that. And in that sense, it's probably not too different from, you know, just renting an ACC server or something. So could be worse, I guess. Not ideal, to say the least, or to say it like that, but also not the end of the world like some people seem to think. Well, I think we really need to get past this Ferrari soon here. Not into Tosa. Whoops. I was about to say, can we get a better exit? Not like that. The Ferrari and the McLaren battling behind us, interestingly. 8 minutes left. At least want to get back onto the podium here. Ooh, that's a bit late. Don't think there was contact though, so that's cool. Thank you, AI, for being aware. AI seems to have a bit of renewed focus in late 2024 as well, across multiple sims, that is, not just LMU. Of course, the multi-class AI is kind of important here. But for instance, the AMS2 AI has been extensively reworked with 1.6. Still has its flaws, of course, but it's getting there, I guess. Yeah, we have this. iRacing's AI is always popular still, even though, yeah, that's a bit... It can be good to set up, but it's also kind of extensive in a way, so for some it might be a bit overwhelming, I think. But it's possible to do some cool stuff with that. My colleague Angus recently actually put together a comparison for sports car racing. So that was between LMU, iRacing and AMS2, with their renewed focus on IMSA, of course. Quite an interesting read from our #1 sports car nerd in the editorial team, so do check that out if you're so inclined. Officially excited. That's good to hear. Like I said, I think we are in a very nice time right now for sim racing. With so much cool stuff on the horizon, update-wise, and then of course we also have the AC Evo early access launch in January. So looking forward to learning more about this. There should be more info dropping hopefully soon. And we've done a bunch of stuff already in that regard in October specifically, because of course there was a playable version at Sim Racing Expo and the opportunity to grill the devs for some more info, of course. But there should be more hopefully before that launches. We shall see. Will be different than what's out there so far, of course, but I'm looking forward to it. Should be really good fun, hopefully. amazing driving feeling. If you're talking about LMU, I agree, it's really good. I think one of the better ways to gauge that is behavior over the curbs, and yeah, it's really good. It's good in the hypercars already. You can really feel the sort of weight of these cars. It's not like they're, you know, just ramping over them and floating for a bit, because some sims have that feeling to them somehow. If you run over a higher curb here, you really notice how the cars just plonk right back down, pretty much. Not like they're just eating the curbs and aren't unsettled or anything, but you can tell that you're driving a car over what is essentially a bump. And that's a pretty good indicator, in my opinion, anyway. Alright, top two are still in sight. It's 3 seconds though to P2, so that might be a bit of a tall order for the rest of the race, but you never know, of course. Also seems like the track limits are not as strict as in qualifying in the race, so that's interesting. Because I'm pretty sure had I run as wide as I just did coming out of Rivazza 2, in qualifying my lap would have been toast, and the next one as well. But yeah, if you are a GT3 fan, then you will certainly feel at home in these things. You might just be surprised by a bit of the detail. Ooh, first hypercar that comes to lap us. Sebuemi, thanks for not just punching me out of the way. Or punting, rather. Could that open the door for P2 losing time and us getting closer? Probably not, but who knows. There's the other Toyota. Feel free. Ooh, also very much on the edge there. Kind of squirrely. Already got a Ferrari in the mirror as well. Here come the hypercars, but yeah, like I said, I don't think it was risky so far what they showed. They tend to do that sometimes, at least at Interlagos, running down to the start-finish straight, if you will. They just send it sometimes on the inside. They're closing in pretty quickly, of course, with the difference in top speed. So that can be surprising, but in general, I think they are doing a pretty good job with traffic, which is cool to see, really, because I mean, I remember running our GT-R2 back in the day, and even then you already had the issue of certain cars just pushing slower class cars, literally bumper to bumper around the track for multiple laps. Also, Alpine and P4, I think, actually. And a Lambo in P5. Not bad. And now there's a whole group of hypercars coming to move us aside, basically. Oh, nice little bump from the Porsche. We got a Caddy and another Porsche behind us, plus the second Alpine, I believe. Yep. That sounds good, that car. Like it or not, but the sound department, they really got right at Alpine. And therefore also here, because it sounds really, really cool in real life as well. W coming in. Alright, do your thing. Got one of the Jota Porsches coming up as well, and there's a bit of a gap. Where's the rest of them? Final lap, let's go. There are the other hypercars, it would seem. Yep, there they are. Or some of them anyways. For instance, I haven't seen a Peugeot yet. I think they're right there in the mirror, actually both trailing the Isotta. Yep. That's the Isotta Fraschini, and they're both 9x8s. Someone at Stellantis is not going to be happy about that. Oof! The send around part 1 of Acqua Minerale. The curb. Oh, the McLaren is getting slowed down quite a lot here. 59 car. Don't think we'll get close enough to them, especially with just 2 corners remaining. Nope. LMU sounds are pretty immersive. Yeah, they're really well done. That is true. And finish. There we go. P3. It's alright, I guess. Lost the position at the start, but yeah, racing was alright then. Once I got past the other Ferrari, I think that was Lausen in P6 in class now, because 2 McLarens also got by, which is nice. Or nice to see that there's some shuffling around going on, that's what I mean. Which leaves 2 more cars, but real quick, I gotta pop over to the restroom. Be right back. Alright. So that leaves 2 more cars for us to check out. Namely, the Corvette and the BMW. Not this one that you cannot see right now, but now. But the M4 GT3. What do we reckon, chat? Which one shall we throw around first? We've done 2 mid-engine cars so far. We could go for the third and then have the contrast of the front-engine BMW for the final one, or vice versa, basically, to kind of go back and forth a little bit. Yeah, let me know what you would be, or what you would prefer in that case. Freedom car, of course. All right. Connor chipping in. I feel like we can't really run the Freedom car at the Freedom Circuit of 2024 though, because I'm really terrible at Coda. Also don't like the track at all. So, I mean, Spa is a bit of a given, right? But we could do the Freedom car at Le Mans, I guess. Nah, probably not. Let's do Spa then. It should be fine. Okay. There we go. Mid-engine Corvette. Some might say sacrilege, but I think it actually looks pretty cool, if you ask me. So we got 2 of them, of course. So the 2 TF Sport entries, number 81 and 82. Yeah, pretty much the same livery. I think it's basically just reversed. Yep. So let's go for this guy, I'd say. Looks cool. Looks kind of mean with the black in the front. Don't ask me why, but, you know, kind of looks cool that way. Right, no practice once again. Let's just do a 10-minute qualifying, 15-minute race, should be fine. And jump in. Here at Spa. Also a very nice track for spectators in particular. If you are not all about having one place to be at and expect to see a lot of the track, because that ain't happening at Spa, just for the... or due to the landscape, the Ardennes mountains, of course, and forests are, as you may or may not have known, or heard, rather, quite undulating. So, yeah, it's hard to find a vantage point where you can see a lot. One that actually works pretty well is, well, basically Speaker's Corner, I think they call it still. So right before, or right at the start of the straight that leads to Pouhon, to the double left in the middle sector, that actually, if the weather's good, allows you to see La Source in the distance. Not that you can make out the cars or anything, because it's like super far back, of course, but I think that's still pretty cool. And it was a spectator spot that I didn't really didn't really have on my list, because it's not like the most spectacular piece of road at Spa, that's for sure. But it was still pretty nice to hang out there and catch some of the atmosphere. Pretty neat spot. Right. Quali at Spa here. Probably not a Spa day per se, but can we actually move the seat so far back that you can't see some of the wheel? Yes, we can. Very nice. Otherwise the FOV police will come break down my door here, and we don't want that to happen, of course. Or some of you might, but I don't. So, again, cold tires, cold brakes, cold everything. Don't slide into the ball. Now, I haven't tried the Corvette at Spa yet, so it will be interesting to see how it copes with Eau Rouge and Radeon. Can't go up here full chat right now, of course. Yeah, lap will not count. It's an outlap anyway. I mean, I don't mind. Trying to get some heat in the tires. Okay, you can actually go over the curb there a bit, I think. Unless it's a case of, hey, you already got your off-track or track limit stuff, so we want to display another, but it looked like you can actually go over there a little bit. See, that's the spot, I mean, like up to the top right here, basically. That's overlooking quite a lot of the circuit, actually. To Pouhon, the one where you can never find the apex. Or I think these days it's called double gauche, so double left. But I got to know it as Pouhon back in the day, so it probably will be forever, at least in my mind. Accelerate out of Stabilo here, always tricky. Can get through their full throttle, basically, through the second part in a GT3, but you really have to nail the line. Otherwise you will have to lift and lose a lot of time. Ooh, yep, that's also not the line here. Probably doesn't help that the tires aren't quite there yet. And I still think it's a sacrilege that they call this bus stop. Because the old bus stop was so much better, if you ask me. It's not even close. It's various iterations. Oh. I don't know if you can tell that from watching already, but the Corvette is a bit more nervous than the other cars, but it feels a bit more, or a bit faster as well. Can actually run over the curbs. That's gonna be a cut. Yep. But it's actually surprisingly okay up the hill here. That's good to know. Don't get too much or gain too much speed running up to Les Combes here anymore, of course, because it's a slight uphill. Doesn't really look like it, especially not in the sim, but if you hike up there, for instance, if you walk around the track, you will notice that it's actually not steep, but quite continuous. Something you don't really see in the sim necessarily. No one's set a time just yet. Interesting. That inside curb, if I remember correctly, in ACC, for instance, is a killer. So I'm kind of glad that you can actually touch it here. Whoa. Yeah, you really got to be careful on the throttle with this thing, despite traction control. Also, don't throw it into the corners too much. It's a bit of a polar opposite, really, compared to the BMW, which we will see in a little bit. Because that kind of relies on it being chucked into corners big time. Because, you know, big old engine in the front. So you kind of have to make use of that weight distribution in a good way. Okay, so we probably have 2 more opportunities to set a lap time here. Would have been a 24 something, I think. So not all that great, to be quite honest. Ooh, that's understeer city. Pole time for the LMGT3s right now, 22.2. See if we can get close to that or not. At least we can get up the hill this time without a track limit penalty. We can keep it together for the rest of this lap. It should at least count, so that's something. Remember that you can brake a little bit later than in the hypercars because of the lower top speed. Patience is so key sometimes, like right here. I know it's against sim racers' nature, basically, to just let a car coast for a little while, but sometimes that can actually be very valuable. In that sense, it's pretty interesting also that sometimes if you run an endurance race and you are forced to fuel save a little bit by lifting and coasting, for instance, you might actually find yourself to be either not that much slower or even faster. That's at least what happened to me during my first iRacing Nürburgring 24. Sure, that was helped by the temperatures being low at night as well, but all of a sudden I was just lifting, coasting everywhere really to extend our stint by a lap. All of a sudden you're like, hey, new best by like 4 seconds. Wow. It's definitely not something you'd expect. Ooh, was that too wide? Don't think so. Very nice. Oop. Not the cleanest exit here. And where do we end up time-wise? 9. Alright, there's more in it. That's for sure. Especially if we actually manage to hit the apex at La Source, which we do this time. Was not a great exit though. Actually lost some time. So that ain't great. Can we actually run up here full throttle this time? It looks like it, but track limits? Ah, come on. Yeah, that's qualifying over for us then. So it's possible, but you can't use the ACC line over the final inside curve there at the top of the hill. That won't work. I guess that goes or comes down to the racing series that runs here, how lenient or not they are at that point. Let's just finish the lap anyway, because it's also kind of practice. So it would be interesting to see what our pace could be actually. The delta is looking ever so slightly positive actually right now. Yeah, you can see maybe that the car got a little bit squirrely there already. Definitely keeps you on your toes. I think out of the 3 mid-engine cars, this is my favorite to drive so far. Simply because it feels the most alive, basically. Or alive. It will bite you if you overdo it, of course, but on the other hand, it always feels like you can actually set some really, really good lap times with it. So, kind of enjoy that. Not as great as the others traction-wise and the low-speed stuff, it would appear. Okay, so that would have been at 23.0. Aren't all cars the same performance-wise? Sorta, but not quite. So they run balance of performance, of course. But they still have their own unique characteristics, of course. They're sort of reined in, you know, overall performance-wise, so they, you know, you could win in any car, ideally. But just by the nature of some cars, like the Aston and the BMW, for instance, with their engines in the front, they're going to drive very much differently, of course. So, yeah, that's of course a bit of a difference. Michael asks, what would you say, how does it compare to MS2's VET? Whew, that's a good one, actually. I think the same underlying characteristics are there, as in this thing is quite lively, quite tail-happy sometimes. But the LMU version feels a bit more planted, and that's not down to the Vette in that case, but or the Corvette in that case. But the ABS implementation, you can feel that so much better here. It's very pronounced in the steering wheel, this vibration. So we really gotta check that out on the active pedal sometime soon, because I think that's gonna be a good time. But that said, yeah, I think for detail, and because GT3s certainly aren't the strong suit of AMS2, I would prefer this one. But yeah, that's of course a bit of a subjective matter as well. So I think they're both quite good, but this one is just, yeah, more focused, I guess, which makes sense because, you know, LMU just focuses on a single series, of course. So that's a bit of a different story compared to the everything approach in AMS2. Really need to do a comparison between the LMP2s in LMU and AMS2 though, because like I mentioned before, the LMP2s in AMS2 are my unexpected stars in the 1.6 upgrade, really. They're really, really good and so much fun. Something I didn't... Oh, damn it, I forgot to fuel her up. Hang on. Good thing I just noticed that, actually. Let me put some fuel into the car. Actually, 6 laps might have checked out already, but whatever. Let's do... It's not going to be 10. Let's do 9. That should be fine as well. Okay. Can I still skip that then? Please. Yes. Thanks. Interesting that the shift protection now works upwards as well. Don't know if that's like an LMU general thing or a GT3 thing, but now I can still shift up into third, but look. Now I can't, because probably the system is thinking, well, then the engine might bark down. Don't do that. Probably. Alright, gotta thread the needle through the bus stop here, and then hope we don't get killed into La Source. We've got a Ferrari beside us, I think. And yep, once again, cold tires and everything. Yep. And very late on the button here. Whoops. Whoa. Can we get down the... Oh dear. This is gonna be a bit rough, I suppose. As spa starts tend to be, but we survived for the time being. Dude, don't put me in the wall, please. Thank you. Still a car beside us. And they... Jesus! Alright. If you insist. Didn't think they would make it stick here, but okay. That was impressive, actually. I think I would have just sat back and, you know, wait for the grid on the field to settle down a little bit there. But not these guys. They know it's only a 15-minute race, so full attack, it seems. Bit of a group already here. Jeez, that BMW is so huge compared to the other cars here. Can't wait for the Mustang to come to join the big boy league here with the BMW, because that thing is huge as well. And it sounds like a Brute too, which is nice. It's got that big old V8 rumble, kind of similar to the Caddy, actually. Lots of battling going on here already. Looks like one of the Corvettes is actually holding everyone up a little bit here. Okay, now we're close, of course, but we can't really send it up the inside here at Blanchimont. That's not gonna work. Alright, let's try and cover the inside here against the Ferrari, which sort of works for now. Side by side through the bus stop. Thank you. You could see that one coming. Oh, that's a late door closer. I mean, it was a late move on my behalf as well, but oh well. So, that's P12 and LMGT3 and therefore last. But we still have some time to make up positions here. Maybe we should get the elbows out a little bit as well. So we get another follower, I think, from that chime. Thank you who decided to click the button. Can't really tell who it is right now, but thanks for tuning in and thanks for supporting us. Always very much appreciated. Hope you're having a great Monday so far. I think I might have picked up some suspension damage, just very slight one, but I don't think my wheel's straight in the straight line anymore. Doesn't hurt too much right now, but it's... I can kind of notice that a little bit. Oh dear, yep. Running wide here ain't fun. Good thing there isn't a gravel trap there anymore, but still not pleasant because it's super bumpy out there, so don't want to run wide here either way. And that Corvette I was talking about is going down the order, it would seem. BMW a bit gravelly. Don't cut me off now, thank you very much. Let's appreciate it. Gotta lift a little bit. I think there's slight dirty air maybe, I don't know. The Ferrari with at least a hint of a slightly suicidal move. Yeah, I can tell that everyone has a bit of a better exit out of La Source here. They're pretty racy, I gotta say. Wouldn't have exactly expected that, or by that much anyway. And we get another follower, Andrei Litschke, I think it is, if I read that correctly, on the straight here. That isn't quite straight. Thank you very much for tuning in and for following us. Very much appreciate it. Throw it away here, obviously. You can tell that these guys have their strong areas around this track and others that aren't very great. And I think I'm better through Les-Combes, for instance, because I've caught right back up to that dimmer. Can I hang it around the outside? Not really. Would have needed some help from my Corvette, but there, whoops. Now it's touring car racing, alright. Oh, dude. Just because you got the bigger car you should bully the others. Looks like the gloves are coming off. They're still right there, so that's good. Better exit out of there than before, but still not enough to mount a charge into La Source, I think. Not really. Yep, and they always get the better exit out of here, unfortunately. But let's put that Les-Combes theory to the test then. And I also will have some slipstream down the straight here, but it doesn't change too much for now anyway. closer. Might also, oops, sorry. Might also be that my Corvette bro there is just holding them up quite considerably. Because look at the gap to the Ferrari that somehow managed to squeeze past at some point. That's grown quite a lot, actually. Looks like that vet is doing whatever they can to defend here. That wasn't the plan, but I'll try anyway. Whoa. Sketchy. Oh dear. And we finally get past the Bimmer. Nice. Can we also dispose of our Corvette colleague here? Let's see. Will be just under 5 minutes left once we cross the start-finish line, I'm pretty sure. Slight lift. Get the turn in here. Are you gonna stay on the inside line? Sorta, but not really. Didn't really commit until the braking zone started. Very nice. Still have to watch that BMW in the mirror though, because they do be breathing down my neck. Alright, 5 minutes to go. I think that was the first time we really got a good exit out of La Source, according to the Delta anyway. As we make our way up the hill here. Yeah! Not a track limit penalty, nice. As we get 2 more followers in. Thanks guys, very much appreciate you checking out what we're doing here and deciding to stay for for that matter. Ooh, outbrake the Corvette, buddy. Yes sir, thank you very much. Into P10 we go, in class that is. Overall we're way down the order of course. Should be interesting to see if we will get lapped by a hypercar at this point, or during the remainder of the race. I would think so, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, actually, and you can't see that because the cams before or in front of that, the relative says that the leading Toyota once again is 24 seconds down the road, just, or behind us rather. So it's probably gonna happen sooner rather than later. Whoop. You can tell once the Corvette is warmed up a little bit, you can really lean onto it into the corners, which is very nice. Still got to be careful, but it is confidence inspiring. The car where you really have to do that though, that's the BMW. We'll get to that in a little bit. Whoa. It's a bit wider than I would have liked. Should be a new personal best, and it is. Most likely 2 more laps to go. Can we get closer to Petrobelli and the Ferrari in the meantime, or not? Question mark. I don't know. Doesn't look like we're gaining much on them, but maybe we can make it happen. I think they had a slightly better run up the hill here. Looks like it. As the Delta is growing ever so slightly. Might just come down again. Yep, 0.4 seconds I think. 0.5, even half a second through Lacombe or alone. there's a slight chance for us to get involved again. Into another battle, or in another battle rather. Taken quite some time out of that car though, so they're so much closer than the lap before. This might actually not be as unrealistic as I thought initially. Nice. I think we found 2 seconds that lap alone compared to them. As the blue light, or blue flag light comes on, and there's the Toyota at like 350 kph more than we do. There's the other one. Ooh. Some more drift points out of the bus stop. Final lap. Let's see, will this be a showdown or not? No, it's not the game. It's YouTube acting up. For some reason, I don't know why. In a sec. Okay, so it's not the game. That's far from a problem. I tend to be, in some places anyway, close to 200 FPS. But YouTube apparently just doesn't want to play ball with my PC somehow. I mean, we've had that issue before. We've double-checked all the settings before we started this time to give you a 40, 60 FPS stream, and YouTube was like, you know what, nah, let's randomly switch down to 30, let's throttle frame rate, that good stuff, so yeah, not exactly helpful, unfortunately. Okay, somewhere in that pack is that Ferrari, namely right ahead of the yellow Ferrari there. But time is running out. I don't think we'll be in a position to attack here before we get to start finish. Unless Stavolo is coming to us and not to them. Another blue flag. It's a Porsche. Penske cars. There they go. Alpine coming up as well. I can't dive into the slipstream of the Ferrari here. Now I can. Ooh, this is going to be spicy. Through Blanchiment. And into the bus stop. And guys, if you were in a punty mood, I wouldn't actually mind. I don't want to punt them, but it's not going to be enough. Not quite. Drag race to the line, but it's not going to be quite enough for another position. That was good, though. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why it switches. It's the stream, really. It's in the game, it's fine. Like I said, it's most of the time even close to like 200 FPS, so I don't really get why YouTube just doesn't like to play ball with this. Which is super disappointing, because it's running pretty smoothly, it's looking good, and that's what I wanted to show you guys, of course, but yeah, I don't know. Technology. Hooray. Anyway, we got one more to go, and that's the Bimmer. No, it's definitely not gameplay, somehow. At least not on my PC. That's never really suffered from performance issues in the LMU, to be honest. And I mentioned that earlier. It actually works really well regarding VR as well. That was a very positive surprise, because when I tried that for the article on this update, I didn't have to turn down any in-game settings after setting up OpenXR Toolkit, and it still ran very smoothly in most places, like 90 FPS at Le Mans at night, except for start-finish straight, probably. So Hey Ash, good to see you. Yeah, racing's going fine. Streaming not so very much. YouTube doesn't want to play ball quite as much as it should, but yeah, it is what it is. So where do we want to take the Bimmer out then? We've got a few tracks still to choose from. What do we reckon? So that said, to round out that VR point, it looked really good as well. I was actually surprised that for a feature that isn't officially supported yet, even though they improved some things there, that was really good. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to what they can do if they, or once they implement it correctly, like not correctly, but officially. That should be a good, fun experience then. I mean, would it be Le Mans Ultimate if we didn't do Le Mans? What do we reckon? I think the BMW might suffer there because it's not the fastest in a straight line, but yeah, I mean, we kind of have to, don't we? I don't see anyone complaining about Le Mans, so let me know if there are other favorites, but that's definitely a choice right now. Why does it say 15 turns when I only count 14? For which track was that? I think we were at Algarve, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that depends on what you count as a corner. Because some tracks are weird like that and go like, yeah, well, this slight curve in a straight technically is like, because it got two apexes for whatever reason, it's 2 turns. Alright, Le Mans it is. Let go. In the Bimmer. There it is. The big boy with the big nose. We got 2 entries with multiple designs, of course. We got the Le Mans livery here for the 31 and 2 regular season WEC ones. And of course 46 is in the game. It has to be. So we got, yeah, a bunch of, they are quite different actually. I think the BMW M1 is actually my favorite of those. What do we reckon? So not this one, but the other one. That looks a bit cleaner. That one's super busy. I think it's not ugly or anything. It's kind of cool, but I think that's just that bit more striking, if you ask me. So, although that didn't race at Le Mans technically, so we probably should just roll with what, you know, with the proper number plate and everything. All right. So again, no need to practice. Let's do like a 5-minute qualifying. Race should also be not an hour, but like 15 minutes as the others were. Race length 0 minutes would be a bit short, if you ask me. Why is it? I think something has bugged out here. That's not great. Because that was actually qualifying length. Maybe that's the issue. Yep. Nope. No hours, but 15 minutes. There we go. That should do. Yes, it did. Do. Why, Yannik? Yes. Now it's time. Oh, actually add in the LMP2 class because Le Mans, of course. And let's go. See what happens. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna be in a great position top speed wise, because that's what I found when I tried all of these at Interlagos to have proper comparison, basically. So the Bimmer was not super fast in a straight line, and at first it felt like ultra slow everywhere else as well. But once you figured out that you really, really need to brake onto these apexes, like big time, then that's where the pace starts to come, yeah, or come into the equation rather. And then it's gonna be interesting. I like these different strengths for the cars. That's always fun. So let's see if we can make something happen here at Le Mans, or if we're just going to be hung out to dry. I don't know, but it's probably going to be a very low wing setup to somehow compete here. Let's see. We probably will only be able to do an outlap and our quali lap, so not okay. Alright, there we go. That looked a bit weird. Is it warm? Sorta. Let's do some tape then. Rear wing -2 degrees. There you go. Even in the preset, that's the lowest. Don't need that much fuel, really. 2.5 should be plenty. Slide the seat back, of course. So you guys can hopefully see some wheel turning here as well. It's always nice if the inputs are a bit visible. Yeah, that should do. fire up the Bimmer and see what we can actually do with it around here. It does sound very Bimmer-like, which is nice. If you've raced this car before, you will feel right at home regarding its stereo, so to speak. It is quite a lot more agile than you would think, somehow. Which is probably why it's relatively popular in GT3 racing. Because it's definitely, like, unlike the most other GT3s, it's not like a sports car, super sports car, that sort of stuff. So it's not a Ferrari 296 or a McLaren 720S or a Lamborghini Huracan, but it's like it's a hacking M4, bro. So somehow they make that work, which is kind of cool to see that these different concepts also, you know, just do their thing. Actually, worth shifting up already? Yes. Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you're super late in the upshift, or too early rather. Yep, that's too early on the brakes, that's for sure. Keep that in mind for the actual hot lap. Really hope we're not going to get murdered on the straights by the hypercars. I mean, that's going to be an interesting one for sure. Yep, speed keeps climbing, even though it sounds like you're just shifting super early. But okay. That could have been a bit later as well. Now it's gonna get interesting. That right turn braking zone. It's a prime crasher car area, really. But using that inside curve there, the curve of that curve basically as the apex as to where you want the car straight when you step on the brake, that usually works quite well. Gotta say, the reflections and the lighting and everything, Le Mans Ultimate does look pretty damn good in some settings. Probably the best at night and in the rain. Taking screenshots there, and you'd think, yeah, there's a lot of editing going into that afterwards, but nope. It's really nice to see all those reflections in the puddles then and everything. I think we could do with a little less. Okay, that's the wrong button then. Could do with a little less TC, really. By default, it's at 8. Can adjust that more, like TC slip and TC cut. But right there, out of the slow stuff, you could probably tell that it kind of was a bit in the way of us getting going again, really. Survive that. Tires should be up to temp now, which is good. And we have one chance, one opportunity at a hot lap. But even that is going to be a close call. Look at the clock, the session timer at 14 seconds as we exit the chicane. Get out of here with your pit request. No, I don't have too much fuel in the car anymore. That's the point. I could have braked later there. First sector here is so much fun, I think. These slightly banked corners, especially in a high downforce car. So a hypercar or LMP2, not so much these here, but just throwing them in there, that's so much fun. Time is up. Let's see what time we can set. I think everyone else will set theirs eventually. Not yet, but we'll get there. Better braking point than on the outlap for sure. It's weird, because even if you push this car, it always feels unspectacular. And I think that's kind of the point of the entire design of this thing. But still, like, when I first tried it in the preview version, I felt like, why is this so slow? And even after I found out how to properly, you know, trail brake the thing onto an apex, basically, so kind of like so, except a bit more planted, even then it didn't really feel like I was going fast or anything, but the Delta said something else, so it was kind of interesting to, you know, have that contrast between the feeling of not going fast, but actually, you know, going for pole position. That moment, kind of funny, if you ask me. Alright, purple second sector, interesting. Where are we gonna end up? I feel like it might have been in the preset then it's at Interlagos, because it was definitely the slowest of the four in a straight line. Here, I'm not sure, but it's getting up to 280 at least, so that's pretty good, I'd say. That's better on the traction control now. Not ideal, but better. Basically just the Porsche curves, Maison Blanche, and the chicanes remain. It's so easy to mess it up here. And it feels so good if you hook it up, if you thread the needle on every curve and everything. Such a fun combo of corners. Got a Ferrari with a 407.9, which I don't think is very fast really, but I might change my opinion on that once I get across the line here. With a 405.3. Okay, so that's something then. Hey Reed, I am using a 34-inch ultra wide, actually, a 21:9, if that's what you're wondering. So for streaming, of course, it's still 16:9. You can sort of cut the canvas, of course, in the streaming software. But I'm running that's a Dell in 21:9, and that's usually it serves me well, you could say. Compared to a 16:9, you gain some vision, of course, not super, not a lot really, but it helps with the super tight corners already. I think the best example for that would be Nürburgring Turn 1 with the Mercedes Arena, because previously I could not actually see the apex of that first turn. Once I upgraded to this one, at least that was there, so that was pretty helpful. And yeah, we did have indeed a recent video actually about screen sizes, because we have pretty much all sorts of screen sizes in our office. So that's definitely worth checking out if you got a minute. We'll just do this race, the 15-minute race here, and then, you know, feel free to pop over and watch that. Not a problem at all. All right, so 15 minutes. I reckon that's gonna be like 4-ish laps. Let's fuel her up for 5, just to be sure. It's probably way over fueled, but whatever. We are about to see the widest M4 to ever exist. Yeah, the ultra wide body kit. It's like 5 meters wide. Well, let's see what we can do. I think it's gonna be a lot more interesting once the slipstream comes into play here. Because it's a thing at Le Mans, as you may or may not know, of course. Oh, some slight stutters here, interesting. Ugh, bro. Thank God for the ABS. Flat spots galore otherwise. We're going to 60 already back here, interesting. You used to run a normal 16:9 and you can't see in hairpins. Yes, exactly. That's the biggest issue there. The peripherals otherwise are usually not the biggest thing for me anyway, because pretty much every sim has a radar by now, and you got crew chief to tell you, 2 wide, 3 wide, car's still there, that sort of stuff. But for the apexes, that was also always more of a guessing game, really. And I mean, there's a better option, of course, in like a super ultra wide, like the Samsung ones, the 49-inch, like 32:9s, or I think they even have a bigger one still. Or triples, of course, or VR, and then you can just look at the apex. But that's also not an option for everyone. I realize that. It's unfortunate as it is, because sim racing in VR is plenty awesome. All right, let go. Already got a bunch of McLarens trying to make our life difficult. Yellow flag is out, of course, and whoop, bit of a lag here. Interesting. There is some debris in the gravel trap already, so there was some spice already, as Ash already guessed. Well, these guys are relentless, as you can tell here. Alright, we'll run a bit wide over the curb here, but definitely not a bad exit, as we sit right under the rear wing of the McLaren here. Can we make it past, though? Yes, it would appear that the BMW has a bit more grunt, a bit more torque, I would think. Not quite sure how accurate that is, but sorry. Just like knock on the door here. Dude. That's sketchy. But we survive. Okay, nice. Hammer time, yep. I think it's like, was it Imola? I think it was Imola, where we were on pole. Fell to P4 and then recovered to P3 at least. 3 wide behind me. Very interesting constellation. Don't do anything stupid now. But see how you can just throw it into the corners on the brakes. The other cars are a lot more sketchy in that regard. So that's a pretty interesting difference in characteristics here, I think. Which car feels best so far? I'll split that, I think, because the 3 mid-engined ones, I prefer the Corvette. It's just the most lively out of the 3. That's purely subjective, though, of course, because the Ferrari is relatively planted, and the McLaren is kind of in the middle between the two. So it really depends on what you prefer. I mean, all of them are well done. There's no denying that. But the McLaren, yeah, like I said, is kind of the intermediate between the two, which is cool for me personally. I love chucking around cars that are a bit nervous as well sometimes. And then, of course, you got the BMW, which requires a completely different driving style, which I think is cool. So that's ranks near the top as well, but I think checking them all out is probably gonna be a good idea. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yep, true. That would help. Thank you for the advice, dear chat. I think that's Rene. Right, Porsche curves, first time. Oh, yeah. A bit too hot into here, unfortunately. Also notice how the rear view camera switches off if there isn't a car close enough. I just realized that. Now it's on, but right before I turned into the Porsche curves there, it was off. See if we can get a bit of a gap going here. Let's see if it actually does switch off then. Or if it does again. It's Michael in the chat. Alright. Hello. Okay. I was talking about being close to 200 FPS in the other sessions. Now Le Mans start-finish straight seems to be a different animal that just crashes down to even 60 sometimes. Wow. Okay, so P4, 10 minutes to go. And we are not that far off this trio here for P1 in class, hopefully, eventually. I mean, a podium would be nice, but see if we can make that happen. Ah, track limit warning. Okay, if you say so. It was a really good exit though, so don't mind if I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Cottingham. Just slot in behind Lausen's Ferrari. Decides to stay on the outside. Can we outbrake them? Yes, we can. Bimmer brake supremacy, as you could tell. Now let's set our sight on the leading McLaren, or the class leading McLaren, that is. LMU Steam discount. That's the good question. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, at least as long as it's still in early access. I think the prerequisite for that would be the full release, whenever that may happen. That said, I think, what is it right now, 35 bucks or something, is actually not a bad price at all for the quality you're getting. Of course, you won't get all the content for just the base game, or if you buy just the base game, but you can race every class. You get free 2024 liveries for the hypercars that are there. You get the BMW hypercar. You get a free GT3 McLaren, which is neat. I'll take a free McLaren any day of the week. Ask me. But maybe they will surprise us and will be part of the what is the holiday sale, the next one coming up. We'll see. Will LMU become more expensive soon? I think it will be. I think the idea was to have it at its lowest price point when they released it in February to be in early access. I think it was 30 bucks at first, now it's 35, so it will probably be a bit more expensive down the road, you know, to give people a bit more of an incentive to support the game and the studio early on, but not sure when that will happen. Okay. Still got the Ferrari of Lausen breathing down our back. Tracks are the biggest issue. You consider when they have 15 max. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Next season there are not going to be any new tracks on the WEC calendar, so don't expect any new tracks from that. They did mention historic content at some point though, so who knows how historic they're gonna go. That's the question. Say they're gonna do like a 2016 season pack, for instance, then you will have tracks that they don't race in modern WEC right now, but they will still be plenty modern to run with the current day cars on, basically, you know what I mean? So, I don't know if they actually raced at the Nürburgring in 2016, for instance, but say they did, you get the Nürburgring Grand Prix track, and that I don't think has changed too much since then. So it would work perfectly well with these cars as well. Personally, I would be all over like a full 80s season, like Group C. So with like full Group C, Group C2 cars, stuff like that. That would be awesome. Period correct tracks, but we'll see. There's a rich history in endurance racing, of course, in World Sports Car Championship and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, that is. So let's see what kind of surprises they have in store for us down the road, hopefully. Alright, I think we had a slightly better exit. We do have the slipstream. Does it have the full WEC calendar? For 2023, yes. For 24, Qatar is still missing, so Losail, but that's coming in early 2025. So the next DLC will be Q1 2025, they said, and that will also complete the GT3 grid, because these are, of course, the first few GT3s in LMU. The rest will come with the remaining update for the 2024 stuff. Have they done any changes to the slipstream? Looks more powerful. Could be. I'm not too sure, to be honest, because I rarely raced GT cars in LMU. In that case, I think it was a combination of the slipstream and me having a better exit out of the turn. Because in other instances, I felt like it wasn't all that great. I don't know though, not too sure. I'd have to reread the entire changelog, which is super long. If you want to, check out our website, it's on there in the update article. But yeah, that's gonna be quite the reading session, because they've changed a lot. What should be really cool is the ability to broadcast your stuff, basically. So there is, or will be with the update, a spectator mode. That will also feature the WEC style HUD that you would see in a broadcast in real life, which interestingly apparently communicates outside the sim as well via HTML. So you could use that in your streaming software for yeah, just differently. Basically, you can just arrange that however you like, stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool. Also opens the door to league broadcasts. I think, of course, the more virtual broadcasts once that event starts back up. Any updates to the AI? I think so. There were some entries listed for the AI. I haven't done much AI racing, I gotta admit, before before testing the update here. But so far, the Multiclass AI in particular has been really good. I think the racing has been fairly entertaining as well against them. But what really stood out to me is how the hypercars make moves, find the gaps, and you know, don't just punt everyone out of the way, as realistic as that may be sometimes. Oops, that's a bit wider. Sorry. Yep. But that's good to see, because that's difficult to achieve. I mentioned earlier my GTR2 days back then, and even there it was a thing that the faster class cars would always push around like the NGT cars with their bumpers, or by their bumpers, for multiple laps. So it's nice to see that that is also receiving some attention here. Like, on the surface, this update doesn't look like too much. I mean, you get 4 new cars and a track, which is cool. So a bunch of content. There is the changes to online, or additions to online rather, like the hosted servers or the optional, I can't stress this enough, optional subscription that doesn't affect what's there already. So if you've enjoyed the daily races, special events, or weekly races, those won't be affected. And the spectator mode, basically, that's it. If you look at it at first, but there's more. There's a lot more under the hood. The official Le Mans commentary while in game would be interesting. I mean, some people can't stand it. For immersion reasons, I probably wouldn't run it. But remember these previews for what was then GT Revival will now be Project Motor Racing. When they had that demonstration, the proof of concept basically, to include AI commentary. So like real commentator voices, but AI generated, sounded super lifelike. But would actually talk about what's going on at the track and what has gone down at the same track before, which I think was really cool. Similar or a similar approach they used for a race engineer. So I think there's a lot of potential in that field, really. Because the day where I don't have to look up setup stuff all the time anymore, but rather just tell a virtual engineer, hey, look, here's some stuff that's not cool. Could you fix that setup-wise, please? Hope VR Shadows in One Eye is fixed. Good question, actually. I did try VR, but that was during the day and at night. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary there, but I didn't pay attention to it either because that was the first time I ran VR in LMU. What was a pleasant surprise, though, is that it performed so well. That was super nice to see. I mean, I mentioned that a couple of times earlier, I believe, but basically, once I had OpenXR Toolkit set up, I didn't change anything in-game. The Isotta in second. Interesting. Or has it been lapped already? No, can't have. Didn't. And it ran very well, even at Le Mans at night against the AI, except for, of course, the start-finish straight. There it dipped quite considerably to 60, 70, 80 FPS, something like that. But the rest was 90. Solid. Very cool. Right. Should be interesting to see if it's going to be one more lap or not. I didn't get the prompt yet. Time has run out, but I'm not quite sure. Let's see. I think we should be fine fuel-wise for one more, but... well, just, but yeah. Okay, now the rear view monitor is still on somehow. Did it switch? Oh, I think I know what it was. It was the flag light thing earlier that I've just seen in my peripheral vision. I think that turned off and I figured, interesting. Okay, final lap. Yeah, we should be fine fuel-wise. Just about. Get out of here with your pit stop request. Don't need that. Okay, so I think in general the BMW is the most chill of the four cars, while still somehow being fast. Don't need to pit, shut up. That is followed by the Ferrari, then the McLaren, and then the Corvette. I'd say that would be my ranking for I guess plannedness, ease of use, basically. AI engineered setup would be cool. Yes, I totally agree. Because, I mean, there are drivers in real life that know their way around the car and setups and everything quite extensively, actually. But there are also a lot of them who are just like, yeah, I mean, I know how to drive the thing. It just acts unpleasant in that corner. Mr. Engineer guy, could you look into this, please, and fix that, maybe? Thank you. Cool. And I think that would be a function that would help a lot of people. Wonder if it would accommodate the user's driving style. That would be cool. McLaren's taillights don't work. Interesting. I haven't noticed that. I'm not really keen on letting one by, though, to actually check that out. But maybe we can still watch the replay after this one. Might be a possibility. I've seen that in other circuits. Okay. Does LMU have IMSA GT cars like Acura or Mustang? It does not, although the Mustang will come because it also races in WEC. So that's one to look out for in the next update. But in general, it has World Endurance Championship content, and that's it. Because that's the deal with the game, basically. But yeah, with the other GT3s, that's gonna be an interesting one as well, I think. Like, what else are we missing then? The Aston Martin, I believe, will come, of course. The Mustang. What else are we missing? The Lambo, the Porsche, of course. Those are probably going to be popular. Should also add in another interesting dynamic with the rear-engine Porsche, of course. Because that'll be the only car with that layout, I'm pretty sure. And the Lexus, of course, yeah, true. So that's going to be an interesting pack as well, I think. I mean, for next year, there should be some cool content in the pipeline as well. I mean, we're getting the Aston Martin Valkyrie with its glorious V12. Also, Mercedes is gonna make its debut in GT, anyway. After Lambo pulled... No, wait. Was it Lambo who pulled out of GT? I think so, right? Or in general, yeah. I think they're only racing IMSA for next year. The SC63, I think, won't be racing in WEC either. Lambo did pull out. Yep. Whoop, and there is the finish line. Very nice. Last lap finished. Cool. Win a race at Le Mans. Achievement unlocked. Yes. Okay, that was an interesting one. I would not have expected to be fast at Le Mans with a Bimmer, to be quite honest. But where's the other one actually? P10 in class. Let's check the replay for those McLaren taillights. Really? Not from Larsen's car. Castellacci, there's Cottingham. That should work, I guess. See a Ferrari with lights on. I don't think the McLaren ahead does have its lights on, so you might have a point there. Interesting. Ooh. Yeah, that's actually us. Can we also get another McLaren ahead of us? We cannot, unfortunately. So there we go. Yeah, so the braking lights work. Who crashed T1 then? Yeah, we'll check that out as well. Yeah, okay, so brake lights work, rear lights, as in, you know, lights, don't apparently. So who crashed turn 1? It's too late. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that was further up, and that might explain the Isota being up there immediately somehow. Let's see if we can find out who screwed up. Let's check the leaders, really. Pier Guidi and the Ferrari. Did we actually see a Ferrari during the entire race? I can't quite recall. There are some Ferraris. There is a rear wing flying away. That wasn't the Ferraris, though. Right, so who's a wangless car right now? Buemi? Nope, nope. Could you switch? Camera doesn't switch. Nice. See. And someone hit the caddy in the back, but I'm not too sure. Again, nice sound. Yeah, there's some argy-bargy there. Oh, the caddy hit one of the bimmers, and there's an Alpine in the wall. Okay. Yeah, that seems like about par for the course, really. All right. Cool. Now that we got that figured out, yeah, I think it's time to call it a day with the new Le Mans Ultimate update. It'll be out tomorrow, so if this is something that you found interesting, definitely check it out. If you got LMU already, you will get a free GT3 anyway, so yeah, definitely something to look into. Yeah, sorry again for the technical issues. I really don't know what's going on there, and it's super annoying, believe you me. So yeah, hopefully we'll figure that out eventually. But yeah, that being said, thanks everyone who stayed, who checked out the races with the other GT3s. Thanks everyone who followed us and subscribed. Very much appreciate that. I hope you have a great rest of your week and chill, yeah, well, Advent time, basically, because we're already quite far into December, actually. So yeah, enjoy that. And yeah, we shall be live again, possibly tomorrow. Not 100% sure yet, but there's going to be some cool stuff coming our way, courtesy of iRacing and Race Room, so we'll see about that. I can't surprise it, not promise anything, but we'll see. That being said, take care everyone. Do check out our website, our socials, to stay up to date on everything sim racing. And yeah, if you're looking for new monitors, for instance, which size you want to check out, yeah, give our video a watch, recently published, so hopefully that helps. Anyway, take care everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.